Okay, so you know all the talk about mass deportations during the Trump administration, right?
Uh,
And it seemed like it was mostly aimed at folks who were here, without papers.
right.
But what you might not realize is that even legal immigrants started getting caught up in all this, like people with no criminal record.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild,
That's
honestly.
still a shift.
Yeah, and pretty disturbing,
Ah, yeah.
So that's what we're going to dig into today. We're looking at people who were here completely legally, but then suddenly found themselves facing detention and possibly even deportation.
It's a big deal.
It is. And we've got some great stuff to work with for this deep dive. Most of it's from the PBS NewsHour report. They talked to a bunch of these people who were affected, and they also interviewed an immigration lawyer who works on these cases.
So we're trying to understand what this is really like for these people, what they're actually going through.
Exactly.
Hey,
And the legal side of it, too. Like, what are the rules even?
right. And then, what does it all mean? The bigger picture.
So let's get into it. Let's start with some of these stories, because I think that's the best way to see how real this is.
Yeah.
Like, there's this woman, Jasmine, from Canada,
Okay.
and she was just trying to renew her visa.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff.
Exactly. You wouldn't think that would be a problem.
Okay. Seems simple enough.
But for her, it turned into a whole nightmare.
Wow.
Yeah, the report said she ended up in detention, and the conditions were horrible. Freezing cells,
Oh, man.
having to sleep on a mat on the concrete floor. Just a foil blanket.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it gets worse. After she filed an injunction, like a legal thing to try and stop them, they actually showed up at her house, law enforcement did.
What?
And her lawyer got this email saying she had to surrender to IC.
That's intense.
And then they revoked her visa.
Oh, so now what?
She's back in Canada, banned from the U.S. for 5 years.
Jeez. That's rough.
Yeah, you can imagine how messed up her life is now.
Totally. It really shows you how risky it is for people on visas, even when they're doing everything right.
Exactly. And she tried to fight back legally,
Yeah.
and then they punished her for it.
Right. Is it even okay to stand up for yourself?
It's a good question. And then there's this couple, Bradley and Sylvia. Sylvia's from Peru, and she's married to an American citizen.
Okay.
They were coming back from their honeymoon in Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, right? So they land in San Juan, and they just pull Sylvia aside because she's not a citizen.
Wow, seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Bradley couldn't even find out where she was for weeks.
That's awful. Just the not knowing would be so hard.
He said it was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I bet.
Understatement of the century.
Yeah.
And Sylvia said the detention center was designed to break you, basically.
How?
Fear tactics. Isolation.
This is psychological torture.
It really is.
Oh.
And it was freezing there, too, like what Jasmine described.
So they're physically uncomfortable and then they're messing with their heads too.
Yeah, pretty messed up.
Yeah.
It got so bad that Bradley was thinking about moving to Peru.
That's a huge decision.
I know, right? And all because they might deport his wife.
Even though she's married to a citizen.
Exactly. So you can see how this affects families in a really deep way.
Yeah, life-altering choices.
Totally. And then there's this grad student. The report said she was abducted.
Wait, what?
Yeah. They took her to some secret location. No arrest, no charges.
Hold on. That doesn't sound legal at all.
Right. And apparently they moved her to a detention center in Louisiana, even though a judge told them not to.
That's a big problem. Are they just ignoring the courts?
Seems like it. And there's this video of her screaming while they're arresting her.
Oh, man, that's got to be traumatic.
Totally. And she's a PhD student at Tufts.
So she's contributing to society.
Exactly. And they're treating her like a criminal.
It's unbelievable.
And the reason they gave for all this, the Secretary of State said they'd revoked over 300 student visas, and they're doing it every day.
Okay, but why?
He said it's because of some obscure provision that lets them revoke visas if someone's bad for foreign policy.
That sounds so vague.
And he called them lunatics.
Lunatics. That's not very specific.
Yeah, pretty inflammatory.
So, what does that even mean?
Exactly. And then there's the green card holder, the pro-Palestinian activist. He was detained in Louisiana, too.
Okay.
And there was this whole fight about where the case should be heard.
What's the deal with that?
The government wanted it in Louisiana. His lawyers wanted New Jersey.
Okay.
And the thing is, he's an activist, right? And the administration's saying some people are sympathetic to terrorist groups.
So they're basically saying he's dangerous because of his beliefs.
Yeah, which is scary. And his wife's pregnant, due next month.
Oh, wow. That's a lot to deal with.
It's intense. And his lawyer said this could really scare other immigrants from speaking out.
Right. If you think you could get deported for your views, you'd keep quiet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there was also a Turkish guy in Massachusetts detained in Louisiana, too. So it's not just about one group or anything.
It seems like a pretty broad crackdown.
Yeah. So what does all this tell you? We've got all these different cases. But is there a common thread?
Definitely. I mean, first of all, they're going after people with no criminal records.
Right, that's huge.
It's like they're changing the rules.
Totally. And everyone's talking about being scared, like Sylvia said, hunted and persecuted.
Yeah, that's powerful. It creates this atmosphere of fear.
And then the legal stuff is worrying. Like, they ignored a judge's order.
That's not how it's supposed to work.
Not at all.
It undermines the whole system.
And the message it sends is like, even if you have a green card, you're not safe.
Right. It's like anyone can be targeted for any reason.
And that includes what you say, what you believe in.
Yeah, like freedom of speech goes out the window.
Exactly. So let's bring in the lawyers. The immigration lawyer in the report said this is all about scaring legal immigrants into leaving.
Wow, like a strategy of intimidation.
That's what it sounds like.
That's a chilling thought.
It is. And the advice they're giving people is interesting.
Like,
If IC comes knocking, ask for a warrant. Don't answer questions. And whatever you do, don't resist arrest.
makes sense. It's like knowing your rights in a really high-stakes situation.
Yeah. And then there was this legal services director from Las Americas. She said people are so scared they're getting their child custody papers in order,
Just in case.
just in case they get detained.
That's heavy. Like, they're preparing for the worst.
It shows you how deep this fear goes. Like, everyday stuff is scary now. Going to work, sending your kids to school.
It's like living under a cloud of suspicion.
And don't even think about traveling internationally.
Right, even with a green card.
Even then, people are afraid they won't be let back in.
It used to be pretty straightforward.
And the report said some green card holders got detained for exercising their free speech rights.
That's messed up.
Yeah, so even permanent residents aren't safe.
It's like the rules don't matter anymore.
So basically what we've seen here is that under Trump, immigration enforcement got way more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about undocumented folks anymore. It's legal residents, students, even people married to citizens. We heard some pretty scary stories about what it's like in detention, and it's clear that immigrant communities are living in fear. And legally, this raises all kinds of red flags.
Right, like due process, freedom of speech, all that's being thrown into question.
So I think the big question here is, where do we draw the line? How do we balance national security